Something inside you is waking up, something that cannot be explained by logic, by science, by society. A soft ache pulling at your chest when the world is too loud. A strange knowing in your bones when everyone else seems lost. Maybe you've always felt like you were walking between worlds, like you're not fully of this reality, but you're not apart from it either. You see people, you understand them. You feel their pain, their hunger, even when they smile. And sometimes you feel so much, it's unbearable. This is the first whisper of the bridge. If these signs are showing up, you may be one of God's rarest creations. Not better than others, not holier, but different. Designed for a purpose so specific that only 1% of souls are chosen to carry it.
Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound spiritual lessons.
We call them bridge chosen ones, and if you are one, then your life has never been your own. You were made to walk the line between heaven and earth, between despair and transcendence, between the world that is and the world that will be. But how do you know if you are truly one of them? There are 7 signs, 7 spiritual fingerprints, and each one is a doorway to a part of yourself you may have buried just to survive. Let me take you there. But first, I need to ask you something. When was the last time you felt like your soul was trying to speak to you, but you ignored it out of fear? The first sign, you were born into contradiction. Your early life wasn't easy. You didn't come into a clear path. You weren't handed a map. You were thrown into the fire, into dysfunction, pain, imbalance, or illness. You had to grow up fast. You had to learn to see through people's words and into their wounds. But here's what you didn't know. The contradiction was the training. Because a bridge must understand both sides. You had to experience chaos to carry peace. You had to witness cruelty to hold compassion. You had to feel abandonment to teach connection. God didn't forget you. He prepared you. Think about it. Have you ever noticed how your pain has made you deeper? How it's given you the ability to hold space for others without needing them to explain? You're not broken. You're calibrated to the frequency of human suffering so you can become the alchemy of divine healing. The second sign, you attract truth, even when it's uncomfortable. People come to you and tell you things they've never said out loud. They cry in your presence. They confess. And sometimes they hate you for it. Why? Because you carry a mirror, a soul mirror. And when people are around you, they don't see the mask, they see themselves. This is a sacred gift, but it can be lonely because you'll often feel invisible in a crowd. You'll feel like you're the one who always has to hold the space while no one holds it for you. But here's the truth. Your presence is not meant to be seen. It's meant to reveal. You are not the center of attention. You are the center of gravity, and that is far more powerful. The third sign, you live in tension. You're constantly pulled between extremes. You can feel joy and sorrow in the same breath. You want to disappear and be seen at the same time. You crave solitude, but achy for a soul connection that feels impossible to find. This isn't dysfunction. It's dimensional awareness. You are feeling multiple timelines, multiple energies, multiple truths at once. This is the cost of being a bridge. You are not here to choose one side. You're here to hold the middle, to show the world that polarity isn't permanent, that light and dark are not enemies, that we are not separate. And this requires tension. It's the tension that creates the bridge, and the bridge is what carries us all forward. The fourth sign, you've been through spiritual death. I'm not talking about losing your job or falling out with friends. I'm talking about the moment when everything you believed collapsed. When you no longer knew who you were, what this world is, or if anything mattered. That moment when you thought, maybe I'm not meant to be here. Maybe I'm just too sensitive, too strange, too much. That was the death of the false self. That was the universe stripping you down to soul so that the real mission could begin. You weren't meant to survive that moment. You were meant to resurrect from it. Because a bridge cannot be made of weak materials. It must be forged in fire, tested by storm, purified until only the essential remains. And if you're still here, it means you passed the test. You are ready to carry the light. The fifth sign, you feel connected to something invisible. You've always sensed the unseen. Maybe it came as dreams, as whispers, as a presence when you were alone, as numbers repeating, animals showing up, songs at the perfect moment. You've tried to ignore it. You've tried to be normal, but you can't, because the bridge is wired to receive. You are the antenna between worlds. And the more you trust this connection, the stronger it becomes. You begin to know things without evidence. You sense what's coming. You feel when someone is lying. You understand the deeper meaning behind what seems random. You are not imagining it. This is divine intelligence moving through you. And as you refine your vessel, you become the channel for something greater, something the world desperately needs. The sixth sign, you've always felt called, but never knew what to. There is a longing in your chest that no career, no relationship, no success can fulfill. It's not depression. It's divine homesickness. Your soul remembers something that your mind cannot name. And that's because you're not here to do what's already been done. You're here to build what doesn't exist yet. You don't fit the mold because you're meant to create a new one. But before you can answer the call, you must stop trying to silence it. You must stop pretending you're like everyone else, because you're not, and you were never meant to be. And the seventh sign, the most sacred, is this: no matter how hard life gets, you cannot give up. You've tried, you've come close, but something always pulls you back. Some spark, some whisper, some inexplicable strength inside you. That is the sign of the chosen, because you were placed here not to escape pain, but to transform it. You carry a light that darkness cannot touch. And no matter how many times you fall, you rise, not because of ego, but because of purpose. Because your soul made a vow before you came, I will return to earth to be the bridge. And nothing, not trauma, not doubt, not fear, can undo that vow. So here you are, awakening again, remembering again. And now I ask you, if you are the bridge, who are you here to carry? What future are you here to build? What old world are you here to heal? And what new world are you here to deliver? Because the time is now, not someday. Not when you're perfect. Now. You don't need to be ready. You only need to be willing. Fade out. The lonely figure in the desert stops walking. A glowing light opens in the sand before them. A voice like thunder and love echoes through the silence. You are not here to follow the path. You are here to be it. Fade in, a dark forest, quiet except for the distant sound of water and wind. A figure walks alone, slowly, lantern in hand. The voice returns, softer but deeper, like it's speaking from within your own soul. You are not here to escape the world. You are here to carry a piece of it no one else can. Being a bridge chosen one is not about having a title. It's not glamorous. It's not shiny. It's not something you announce to the world with pride. It's something you carry, quietly, sacredly, often invisibly. That's the burden. And yet, it's also the blessing. Because while others seek peace through avoidance, you were sent here to walk into the chaos and bring coherence. While others numb themselves to the pain of the world, you were born with a nervous system that feels it all so you can heal it from the inside out. That's not weakness. That's divine design. If you've ever wondered why your life seems heavier than most, why you feel things deeper, why your struggles seem more complex, it's because your soul agreed to bear what others could not. Why? Because you're not just healing yourself. You're healing through yourself. Every time you break a generational cycle, every time you choose compassion over reaction, every time you hold space instead of judging, you are rewriting the collective story. You're not just living your life. You're editing the human script itself. Let me say something that may shake your perception. The pain you've carried wasn't yours alone. It was assigned to you, not by karma, not by punishment, but by purpose. You were chosen to be the one in your bloodline, in your soul tribe, in your city, in your country, who would feel the full weight of what's broken so you could become the channel of its repair. And you said yes. Before this life began, you said, I will go. I will remember. I will return with the blueprint of healing. And though you've forgotten, your soul has not. That's why certain wounds keep repeating until you address them. That's why certain relationships feel heavier than they should. That's why solitude has become your teacher. Because you are not here to live a normal life. You're here to live a sacred one. But here's the part no one talks about enough. It's exhausting. Being a bridge means you're constantly translating between human and divine, between love and fear, between the old world and the new. You feel what others don't even realize they're carrying. You see the lie behind the smile, the wound behind the anger, the truth behind the silence. And it can be overwhelming. That's why boundaries are not optional for you, they are spiritual armor. You must protect your energy like it's holy, because it is. You must learn to say no, not because you're unkind, but because your mission requires conservation of frequency. You must learn to rest, not because you're lazy, but because your nervous system is processing more than most people can imagine. This isn't selfish. This is strategic, because a burnt-out bridge collapses, and the world needs you standing. There's a secret I want to share with you. Every time you've hit rock bottom, every time you've wanted to give up, every time you've questioned whether your existence even matters, there was something keeping you alive. A thread, a presence, a whisper. And that whisper wasn't just hope. It wasn't just resilience. It was the memory of your original assignment. It's the part of you that remembers you were chosen not because you were the strongest or smartest, but because you were the most willing to love through pain. That's what makes you rare. That's what makes you part of the 1%. You didn't come to dominate. You came to integrate. You didn't come to rise above others. You came to raise the frequency beneath everyone's feet. You are not a leader in the traditional sense. You are a frequency holder. And that's far more powerful. But let's get honest. You've doubted this path. You've questioned your worth. You've looked at others succeeding, building, shining, and wondered, why do I feel like I'm always in the in-between? Because the bridge is always in the in-between. You're not here to belong to one side. You're here to connect both. But that means you often feel like you belong nowhere. And that can be painful. So here's the truth. You don't need to belong to the world. You need to belong to your mission, to your remembrance, to your frequency. Because as you embody that, others will find you, not the masses, but the matched, the ones who recognize your signal, the ones who carry similar codes, the ones who are waiting for someone like you to remind them of who they are. And when that happens, when bridges meet, new worlds are born. I want to ask you something now, not a question for the mind, a question for the soul. What if the deepest wound you carry is actually the exact place where your divine mission begins? What if your heartbreak was the gateway to your healing gift? What if your loneliness was the training ground for your empathy? What if your failure was the doorway to your frequency signature? You see, the bridge isn't built from perfection. It's built from cracks, because only what has been broken can connect. And you, my friend, you are the connection. There's a moment that every bridge soul must go through. A moment when you realize, I can't go back. You've tasted too much truth. You've seen too far beyond the veil. You felt the sacred weight of being human with divine memory. And you know deep down that you cannot unknow what you know. You cannot unfeel what you feel. You cannot unsee what you see. So now, the only path forward is through the pain, through the confusion, through the transformation. And on the other side, legacy. Not fame, not followers, but eternal impact. For the quiet kind, the quantum kind, the kind that shifts timelines just by existing. Let me bring you back to something simple. You're not here to fix the world. You're here to reveal what's already whole within it. You're not here to save anyone. You're here to be someone who remembers, because your remembrance activates others. Your light gives others permission to shine. Your integrity gives others permission to release the mask. You don't need to speak loudly. You just need to vibrate clearly. The ones who are meant to find you will. Because you are not a lighthouse. You are the bridge to the light. Fade out. The figure in the forest reaches a clearing. A massive stone archway stands before them, carved with symbols glowing faintly in the moonlight. They step forward. The wind stops. The voice returns, one final time. You are not carrying too much. You are carrying exactly what you were built to transmute. And now, the world is ready for what you hold. Fade in, a sunrise over the ocean. The horizon pulses with gold and violet light. A figure stands barefoot on the shoreline, still, listening. The voice returns, not louder but clearer, like it's coming from within. You've walked through the fire. You've held the weight. You've remembered what most of the world still forgets. Now the time has come not just to awaken, but to embody, to activate the full blueprint of your soul's mission as a bridge chosen one. We are no longer in the age of wondering. We are in the hour of becoming. No more waiting for permission. No more waiting for the right moment. No more asking if you're enough. You were chosen long before you were born. And now the world is catching up to your frequency. But here's the part that separates those who remember from those who transmute. Awareness is the spark. But embodiment is the revolution. It's not enough to know who you are. You must live it. So how do you activate your bridge blueprint? How do you become the living, breathing, resonating channel between dimensions, timelines, and tribes? It begins with devotion. Devotion not to dogma, but to alignment. Every chosen one has a moment where they realize, this is not a life I live for myself. This is a life I live as a transmission. That's you. And now, the sacred work begins. First, you must master your inner field. The bridge is not a role, it's a frequency structure. If your inner world is chaotic, reactive, or dependent on external validation, your bridge collapses under the weight of the 3D. So you must become a master of your emotional body, not to suppress it, but to alchemize it. You will feel deeply. You always have. This will never change. But now, it's time to stop drowning in emotion and start surfing it. Feel it, name it, breathe with it. Then ask, what is this energy asking me to channel? Because every emotion is raw spiritual material. Anger becomes boundary. Grief becomes depth. Fear becomes clarity. You are not just feeling the world, you are transforming it through your nervous system. And that requires space, stillness, daily recalibration. Meditation is not optional for you. It is maintenance of the sacred system. Breath work, grounding, sacred silence. These aren't luxuries for bridge souls. They're medicine. Take them seriously. Because your frequency must be clean to carry what's coming next. Second, you must walk as the timeline anchor. This means choosing actions, words, and thoughts that are already aligned with the world you're here to help build. You don't wait for peace to come, you live as peace. You don't wait for the world to change, you become the change field. You don't wait until it's easy, you embody it anyway. Because every time you act from your bridged nature, you reinforce the new earth timeline. You are not just living your life. You are creating a vibrational template for others to step into. This is why your integrity is non-negotiable. Because the bridge doesn't just carry people, it carries codes. Every time you speak with truth, you activate someone. Every time you forgive, you cut a karmic thread. Every time you choose love instead of fear, a door opens in the collective field. And that's how the new earth is built. Not with technology, but with frequency integrity. Third, you must embrace the sacred invisibility. Being a bridge chosen one is not about fame. It's about effect. Some of you will be seen. Most of you will not. And that's okay. In fact, it's by design. Because the most powerful transmissions don't come from stages. They come from witness presence. The way you speak to a stranger. The way you hold grief with grace. The way you lead your family by vibration, not force. Your presence rewires the field. Don't underestimate that. Your soul didn't come here to be popular. It came here to be precise. So release the need to be validated by the world. You are not here to be understood. You're here to be the frequency that helps others remember themselves. And that's more than enough. Fourth, speak the unspoken. Chosen ones are always given a unique vocabulary, a way of seeing the world that feels strange to those still sleeping. But you must speak it, not to convince, not to convert, but to offer keys. Your words are not just words. They are activation codes. When you speak from the higher self, your voice becomes a tuning fork. And those who are ready will feel it, even if they don't understand it. So speak, not louder, truer. Speak your truth in art, in prayer, in space holding, in the way you breathe when everyone else is panicking. Speak it in your silence. Speak it through your embodiment of love, because your voice was never yours alone. It was given to you by the divine to carry a sound that only you could deliver into this timeline. Fifth, follow the sacred instructions. Bridge souls are always guided, not by logic, but by resonance. You will be led to places, people, and moments that make no sense at first, but hold quantum purpose. When the nudge comes, trust it. When the urge to move, speak, act, or rest arises from soul, not mind, honor it. You are not here to plan your life. You are here to respond to divine orchestration. Synchronicity is your map. Intuition is your compass. Resonance is your yes. The bridge doesn't ask, is this safe? It asks, is this aligned? And if it is, you walk, even if it looks like failure to others. Because what looks like collapse in the 3D is expansion in the 5D. You move differently now, because you are not just a person. You are a portal. Sixth, give yourself fully to the mission and release the outcome. This is the final unlocking. You must let go of needing to see the results. You must trust that your impact is energetic first, visible later. You may never know how many souls you've awakened, how many timelines you've healed, how many ripples you've created. But that doesn't mean it didn't happen. The bridge doesn't measure success by applause, it measures by alignment. You were never here to build a brand. You were here to build a bridge. And that bridge is built moment by moment, choice by choice, breath by breath. So walk it, even when you're tired, even when no one sees, even when the world calls you crazy, sensitive, too much. Walk it anyway, because your soul remembers what's on the other side. A world that remembers itself. A world reborn through the frequency of love. A world your presence makes possible. Fade to the ocean. The figure steps into the water. As they walk deeper, light begins to rise from the waves. The scene dissolves into stars. The voice returns one last time. You are not just a bridge between heaven and earth. You are the proof that they were never separate. You are not just a chosen one. You are a choosing one, choosing love, clarity, and alignment in every moment. And that is what reshapes the world. You are not just a chosen one. You are a choosing one. This is the moment that separates the awakened from the embodied. Many wake up, some begin to walk, but very few choose, every single day, to live in alignment with what their soul remembers. You, dearest soul, are one of the rare few who came not just to receive the light, but to become it in motion. This is the invitation now, to stop asking if you're ready, and instead remember that you already are. You were never meant to wait for the world to understand you. You were meant to stand in your truth so clearly, so deeply, so unwaveringly, that the world begins to remember itself in your reflection. Being a bridge chosen one isn't about a title. It's not a badge. It's a vibration, a contract, a sacred promise you made before this life began. I will go. I will carry what others cannot. I will walk between the worlds and return with the medicine. And now here you are. So what do you do when the world still sleeps and your soul is wide awake? You anchor. You hold your light not for validation, but for transformation. You breathe through the overwhelm. You ground through the chaos. You remember, even when everyone else forgets. You are not here to be understood by the masses. You are here to activate the few who are ready. You are not here to fit in. You are here to bridge the gap between what is and what could be. And yes, it's heavy sometimes. Yes, it's lonely. Yes, it's exhausting to feel this much, to see this much, to know this much when the world is still addicted to numbness. But make no mistake, that weight is sacred. Because you are not just carrying burdens, you are carrying blueprints. Blueprints for healing. Blueprints for awakening. Blueprints for a future that is already encoded within your being. So what does it really mean to live as the bridge? It means you stop negotiating with your truth. You stop shrinking to be digestible to people who were never meant to understand you. You stop waiting for the perfect moment to begin, and instead, you become the moment itself. You move through the world as a tuning fork. You speak not to be heard, but to resonate. You love not to be loved back, but because you are love incarnate. And when the wave of pain comes, you don't run anymore. You meet it. You breathe into it. You listen to what it's asking you to transmute. Because this is the difference between a wounded empath and an awakened bridge. The wounded empath tries to carry the pain of the world. The awakened bridge alchemizes it. You transmute the rage into clarity, the grief into depth, the fear into wisdom, the isolation into presence. This is not just healing. This is spiritual technology in motion. And it is what you were made for. Let's speak the truth most won't say aloud. This path is hard. There are days when you'll want to disappear. When the weight of feeling everything makes you question if you were ever built for this world. There are moments when you will look around and wonder why it seems so much easier for others to just live. But that's because you weren't built for comfort. You were built for change, for evolution, for frequency work that happens on levels most people can't even see. You are not here to perform. You are here to transmit. And your transmission doesn't need to be loud. It just needs to be clean. That's why protecting your energy is not a luxury, it's a requirement. That's why rest isn't laziness, it's spiritual maintenance. That's why silence isn't avoidance, it's sacred recalibration. Because a burnt-out bridge cannot carry anyone. And you, beloved, are carrying more than you know. So what now? You walk forward. Not because it's easy. Not because it's certain. But because your soul remembers the way. You walk not toward applause, but toward alignment. Not toward safety, but toward truth. And along the way, you will meet others like you. Not many, but enough, the ones who feel like ancient echoes. The ones who speak in silence. The ones who vibrate at the same forgotten frequency. And when bridges meet, new worlds are born.